Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to the part of my F1 Manager 22 career mode here with Alfa Romeo. This is the second last episode of this first ever season for the Brazilian Grand Prix. If you guys did miss the previous one, then I implore you to go check it out, because that was a very hectic race, which ended up having 4 safety cars in a manager race. You know, it was ended up sounding like a My Team career mode episode. 4 safety cars in a wet and wild Mexican Grand Prix where we broke the game pretty much with both our drivers, because spoiler alert, both our drivers in quite spectacular fashion DNF'd, and Gasly glitched out the map. Bottas did actually to an extent as well, and I feel like it was a little bit broken in that regard. So I'm hoping the chaos, well, obviously I want a chaotic race every time, but I'm hoping that we are not caught up in it with DNFs, let's say, because I just spent like 11.5 million on a facility upgrade, and I talked about not needing to spend any more money on, you know, anything else really with the car majorly. But now, as you can see with the red icons, we're probably gonna have to purchase maybe and manufacture some new spare parts, because I don't even know what got left broken off these guys' cars. You know, Gasly lost a rear wing, a front wing, I think. Bottas with a front wing as well, so I definitely think we're gonna have to build one of those at least, and maybe a rear wing whilst we're at it. But also exciting times, because in today's episode, a brand new ATR period begins for the aero testing. So that means we can delve into some more research. And looking at the comment section of the last video, one of you guys suggested that I actually go and research for a second time one of the parts that we've already researched, especially if it's already going to be one that changes in the R&D regulation change. So in terms of the research, front wing and rear wing, we've already done one project, as you can see, but we're going to add on to that because, well, it was just advised to me, and I'm going to take you guys' advice, because a lot of you have actually played well more than me. I think at some point I've seen people who have already played like and sunk in like 4 seasons of this game. Of course, a little bit tricky for me to do that with recording each episode for you guys, but I'll take the advice on board. But first and foremost, let's sort out what on earth we have to build for these guys. Let's look at the warehouse. What are we missing? So, chassis, okay, so I have to make another chassis. Good. Love that. We didn't have a spare chassis. And when's the next race? Because that's going to take 8 days. When is the next race? Please tell me it's not in 8 days' time. Okay, thankfully, we will be able to make this chassis without having to rush it. I'm going to make 2 just in case, but that's going to cost 150k. That's not too bad, though. Let's go through every part then. Front wing, we've only got 2 left. So, really, I should probably be making 2 spares of that. So that'll be 200k. So we're probably gonna end up spending 1 million in this episode. Rear wing, gonna need that. So need to make, let's do two, so that gives us 1 spare and 1 part we'll install onto Gasly's car. That'll get done in 3 to 6 days time. We're lucky that these parts don't take forever and more than like 8 days. Side pods, we're fine, thankfully. Underfloor, we're fine, thankfully. Suspension, ooh, we only have 2 parts. We should probably just make... Oh, we don't have any more capacity. We're also lucky that we don't need to make any more spare parts, because we're at max capacity. So we just about can get away with the double DNF shocker that was last episode in terms of building stuff in time for the next Grand Prix. But the board comes back saying it was a difficult race. I'm sorry to say that's made us lose some confidence in our leadership. You mugs, we have taken Alfa Romeo higher than they could ever have imagined, and you're losing some confidence in us after one race where it was entirely not my fault that they DNF'd, it was their own fault. The board confidence overall's high, delighted and satisfied in terms of the objectives and finances. Right, so it's taken a little, I guess maybe it was delighted beforehand with these 2 things, I don't know, but okay, I mean, to be fair, double DNF, it would take a little knock. And we've got development for Pourchaire. Oh, we've got 2 points for Pourchaire in the development. Okay, we'll go adaptability. I'll go on 1. And he is now up to 73 overall. Not bad. 66 on accuracy, I think. Yeah, decent. That's pretty good. Right, what was I doing? I was going to do the car research. Can we do a new project? Here we go. For the research, I'll go with the front wing, because that seems to affect a lot more. That I feel is a lot more crucial race to race. So, like we did last time, we're going to spend half the allocation on the front wing, and then we'll do half the allocation on the rear wing. So we'll go to 3.3 hours used and 44 wind tunnel hours used. Research focus. Right, we want to we want to try and negate these as much as we can. So we'll just focus on that. That's not going to affect anything, really, that much, because they all still go up. And then airflow sensitivity, if we focus on that, that's not going to make anything really go down that much at all. Like, just a tiny, tiny amount. So I'll maybe go, like, you know, one click like that. And then airflow to the front. Can we boost? Okay, okay. So that's interesting. So I'll leave that with a middle ground, because if I go down here, we'll go negative on airflow front, so I think that's fine. And then brake cooling. I think before the patch, this didn't matter, but now it does. So let's keep it on a neutral balance, and it'll still be a tangible, nice upgrade on what we've already got. And then I'm going to put on 4 engineers. I'll put on 4 engineers. And then I'll leave, you know, we'll have 2 remaining for the rear wing. That's going to cost us just under 1 million, which we can afford. Will be done by December. So this will really take us right to the end of the season. I have no design or research slots available left, because what do I have going on at the moment? In terms of designing, nothing. Research, okay, once the underfloor's done, that's in 10 days' time, then I can get the rear wing research put in and booked in, and that'll see us to the end of the season, basically. So, yeah, job done. I'm pretty happy with that. So let's move forward then into just getting these new parts manufactured, and then we can actually go racing again at Brazil. And the underfloor research is completed. So now we can go back into car development, add on a new research project, and do the exact same for the rear wing. And we've got some more engineers available. So in hindsight, we could have actually added more engineers onto the front wing, because we've got 6 available now, because obviously we had some involved with the underfloor. We'll just go 6 with here, and I think that speeds it up, doesn't it, a little bit? Yeah, it does speed it up massively. So that'll get done this year as well. Otherwise, it would have actually got done next year in 23, which I guess is not great. FP1 over and done with Porsche in the mixer for Bottas's car, and he's not actually that bad. He's only 4/10 off Gasly, so, you know, steadily improvements with Porsche. We've been very impressed with him over the season, really, when he's subbed into FP1. Both silver arrows with penalty, so that's going to help us in our fight. Obviously, last episode, again, rain, like the Japanese Grand Prix, so, you know, that it was a bit of an easier race. I know we DNF'd, but it was an easier race to manage, because you didn't have to worry about the tyre wear too much, unlike the US GP. So, if it doesn't rain around here at Sao Paulo, which there is a good chance, to be fair, knowing, you know, how race has gone by, but if it doesn't rain, it would be a difficult race for us, because I'm still getting used to how we manage this new tyre wear aspect with the delta time alter between the different compounds. But this will help us in terms of the fight versus Mercedes. If they're down the order, push down, that'll help us. McLaren seem to also have a set of penalties, at least just with Ricciardo's McLaren. Lando with no penalty. Both Alpines as well. Oh, that's beautiful. Both Alpines as well. So both the 2 teams that were causing us issues at the US GP, they will be down the order. So now we have a nice clean foundation just to try and do the best job we can in ourselves at trying to learn the best way to manage this. 76 setup confidence and 69% with Bottas off the bat in FP1. That's actually really good, which makes me a little bit worried about how narrow these setup windows are going to be. But as ever, we'll try and get them as high as we can to the high 80s to 90. And Bottas has crashed in the final practice session. That's going to be probably the end of his session, annoyingly. He was just getting to the end of getting his setup checked. I think we're about a high 80. Wanted a bit more from him, but now he's got half front wing. Great stuff. Just what you want heading into quali. So we end FP3, Bottas second place. Not too far off Verstappen, so curious to see if this pace can carry over into qualifying. If it can, we could actually have a pretty good Saturday. But even with the Mercs having the penalties, they had a bit of a slow session. Don't know what went on with them, but they're down in P10 and 12. The Alpines also 7 and 9, so pretty positive. But our old driver, Joe Guan Yu, up in P8 in the AlphaTauri. So to be fair, for his sake, kind of nice to see him right up there. But interesting session with Bottas crashing there, though. But setup-wise, we're looking good. 96% with Gasly, 92% with Bottas. The only thing with Gasly is his gearbox is worn, so I did a change with that. So he lost a bit of track time at the end, but doesn't matter too much because he got that FP1 in. He's actually got more track acclimatization than Valtteri, and Valtteri lost a bit of time having that front wing and already lost us. We just made enough spares to have 2 spares on the front wing, and he's already lost one of them now, having crashed in FP1, and he's got chassis damage. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. A penalty was issued and will be applied. That's because of the chassis. Because I did, like, you have to get a new chassis made up for quali. So it's going to be a 3-place grid penalty. I assume for that then it must be. Because if you look at chassis, that must be it, surely. It must be switching the chassis, because I can make a new one, but I think you just switch it. You get a penalty, because I don't think we've done anything else. I've not changed any other component for him, so it must be the necessary chassis change, which wouldn't have been a problem if he broke his chassis in FP2, but the fact he's broken it here in FP3, I think that's warranting the penalty, because I don't think there's any other penalty added on. It would have been kind of good if it explained why he got that pen, but it must have been for the chassis change. So he's running the old chassis, so he's going to have some reduced performance this weekend, all because of his own fault in FP3. And getting into Q3, then the 2 Mercs do show up a little bit more. We're 7th and 8th, but that was just with the simulated time. Lando makes it through in P9 with the McLaren, and Ocon's Alpine ahead of Fernando Alonso. Again, Joe Grant, you're doing quite well in the AlphaTauri to be up all the way up in P12, to be fair to him. And Verstappen, well, Leclerc was fastest in Q1, Verstappen Q2. Remember, we saw last episode, quite kind of like, you know, low-key and out of nowhere, there is still very much a title fight on, because Leclerc's had such a string of poor races that he has eroded that cushion he had probably just before the Japanese Grand Prix. So Verstappen's still within a shout of the Drivers' Championship, and getting pole and going on to win this race could be a massive aid to him. So this is going to be quite an important session in quali for their both sakes, for the championship fight. For us, we're just trying to get as high as we can, knowing though that Merc will have grid penalties, but Bottas as well has a 3-place. But hopefully Merc, their penalties are larger than just a 3-place. Right, Gasly's on his first flying lap. Then we've got some times on the board already, with Sainz 4/10 ahead of Sergio Perez, about 9/10 ahead of Ocon. Let's see what Gasly can do. Runs to the line, and it's slower than the Alpine. 1.3 well, off the pace. That is not a great lap for Gasly. First time of asking to be behind the Alpine. I mean, I know they have been good as of late, but so far I've had no indication that Alpine will be quicker over 1 lap this weekend, especially from the simulation of Q2. So let's see. Bottas across the line. That's a bit better for him. Even with the old chassis, Bottas, for some reason, sets a better lap time there. So I don't know. Maybe there was some traffic that I just missed. I don't think so, because look at Gasly. He's in acres of space. Unless Leclerc there, who's yet to... He's now on a flyer, so maybe Gasly had to overtake him and now has let Leclerc by himself on his in-lap. I don't know, but for whatever reason, massive improvement needed there from Pierre on that side of the garage. But let's take a look then at Verstappen. If we ride on board with him as he crosses, or starts his lap, sorry. This is the start of his flying lap. So both him and Leclerc set to yet to finish their lap times. Is Leclerc about to end his lap? Let's see what he can do versus his teammate Sainz. Pretty important lap this will be, and he's 4/10 off Sainz. He's 4/10 off Sainz. So it's all down to Verstappen then. As long as he can just try and match his teammate and just go almost just half a tenth quicker than Perez, he'll be on the front foot versus Leclerc, but of course he'll be aiming for the top spot as always. So let's find out what he can do as we fast forward. Running to the line, Verstappen is going to be on pole by 1/10, at least for now, provisional pole. But Mercedes yet to set lap times. They're now doing that right now. It's a very odd time for Merc to go out. But to be fair, maybe track grip, yeah, track grip's got a lot higher now, to be fair. So this might be advantageous for Mercedes to start their laps now. We're going to wait till the end of the session. So Merc, as they come across the line, let's see what they go. Hamilton P6, Russell P9. So one of our drivers, in both teams, one of the drivers doing well, the other one just for whatever reason not extracting that final lap time. So now we wait to the end of the session, and we'll try and time this as well as we can just to get them out right at the death. So here we go then, Bottas on his first flying lap. Everyone is out on track. right now, the lead car being Norris will cross the line first, then Russell and Hamilton ahead of us. So we'll first and foremost see how much of an improvement technically we need to stay ahead of Hamilton then, I guess, with Bottas. So I'm just really hoping we see some green No. I wanted to see some green sectors from Gasly. It's yellow for some reason. Higher setup confidence, better chassis, and he is not going to do as well as Bottas for some reason. Very weird. It's almost like Bottas AI has something to prove, I guess, after the crash in FP3. Let's see. Checkered flag's fallen. Are there improvements for the cars ahead? Hamilton does not go quicker. Hamilton doesn't go quicker. Apparently, we need to refuel. Bottas across the line, and he does not improve. It is a green middle sector for Gasly, though. 1.1 Russell off. Will he improve as he crosses the line? Don't know. Don't know where he's gone. No checkered flag. We need to refuel, apparently. This has been the second time that's happened of not enough fuel being put in the car for this as we cross the line, and Gasly does improve, but only enough to pip Russell. So, just a very odd session. Bottas 3 places back. He'll basically be where Gasly is on the grid. But I don't understand that. Higher setup, better chassis, and he's not delivered the goods. Very, very odd. Maybe Gasly just took a massive knock in confidence off the back of that Mexican GP. But Verstappen is on pole position. Leclerc in third for that championship battle. We're in P5 with Bottas, but we know we're going down the order by 3 places. But Hamilton and Russell equally are going down, maybe even more if they took greater penalties. So Bottas will start P6 and Gasly elevated to P7. So ultimately they start quite close together then. In the race, is there any rain? No, it's going to be a bone dry Brazilian Grand Prix. So we will have nowhere to hide with our strategy and trying to make sure they look after the tyres. It is a 2-stop, though, in any way. So that might help us a little bit.
We have beautiful blue skies overhead as the drivers line up on the grid. And there's Valtteri Bottas. With a top 10 position on the grid, this race could really go either way for them. Next for the team, it's Pierre Gasly. A top 10 position today, but will they be able to capitalise on it? Will their hard work pay off today?
All right, here we go. 2-stop for this one. Medium to hards to mediums as we go to 5 red lights. And we're underway for the US GP from P6 and 7 on the grid. Running on board with Bottas. Already got ahead of the McLaren of Norris, who is up into P6 because of those penalties for the Mercs. But to be fair, the Mercs are only P8 and P11 at the moment with Russell. Gasly, though, just made a wonderful move. It's 3 wide between us 2 and the McLaren, and he's up the order. Bottas, though, comes back at him down the inside, so we're side by side. Oh, that's a little bit sketchy as Gasly gets Norris. Let's look at a replay there because we didn't really catch that properly. That was through the center S. 3 wide through the center S. That's pretty impressive for both our drivers and the McLaren driver. But ultimately, Bottas gets ahead. And at the front, Verstappen defending against the 2 Ferraris. But I'm just going to now go to aggressive with this, and then we're going to very quickly wind that down to standard. But right now, Sainz having a go at Verstappen, Bottas having a go at Sergio bloody Perez, and he's overtaken him. And he's ahead of the Red Bull driver, although the Red Bull comes back at him. Let's ride on board with Perez to watch that. Bottas down the inside. This is where he crashed in FP3, but he's made the move down the inside, and now Gasly can stare at the rear wing of the Red Bull. And Perez going on the grass a little bit there, so maybe, I don't know, maybe he's got an issue already with the car, I don't know. But Perez with a bit of a haphazard driving, so let's hope that Gasly can close up. Let's go to overtake mode with him and go defend with Bottas to try and keep ahead. Meanwhile, we've got Sainz having a go at Verstappen, of course. He's not in the title fight realistically, but having a go at Verstappen will help Leclerc out to no end. But Bottas, despite starting P6, sets the fastest lap on lap 1. That's how you know you've had a pretty good first lap, when you set a purple lap time and you're not the race leader. Because that's mean you've done even better than the race leader somehow, even whilst being behind. As Sainz now goes down the inside, and we'll try and stick with this pack ahead of us as much as we can. Meanwhile, Gasly, I want him to have a go at Perez. I need him to try and get ahead of him to try and keep up with Bottas. Down the inside, come on, come on. Let's go back to this shot. We're pulling away a little bit from the cars ahead. Yellow flags, for whatever reason. Verstappen hanging on to P1. Gasly round the outside to the inside. It's deja vu. Very similar move maybe to the one Bottas made. Can he finish it off? Hopefully so. Going to go neutral because now he's overusing ERS at this point. And he is ahead. He is ahead. Lovely. Just about, though. Just about. Let's go defensive ERS now and try and stay ahead of Checo if we can. The Red Bull giving us a bit of a hard time here. Where on earth is he? There he is. And we're now out of battery, so we're going to have to harvest into turn 1. Let's hope Perez just doesn't make a move here. Is he going to go down the inside? Ooh, no. Okay, good. Gasly did well to get across there. DRS, though, is now active. So that rear wing's going to open for Perez, probably, and he'll get past. Gasly has DRS, though, just about off Bottas. So that will help him out. That's going to help him out. So now, at this stage of the race, I'm going to bump them down to standard because we need to start saving tyres. Right, so in terms of the tyres everyone's using, most on mediums. Joe and the AlphaTauris and Alpines trying the soft compound. I'm just avoiding that tyre altogether today. As I said, medium to hards to mediums. Looking to be a bit more conservative on this first stint. Pushing harder on the hard compound, knowing we've got a bit more leeway. And then again, kind of going to the end then on mediums at the same sort of pace. But at the moment, again, we're wearing out our tyres more than AI. Because, you know, obviously you want to be ahead of these kind of cars. You want to be fighting. But in order to do that, we had to push a bit harder at the start of the race. But now I'm going to be stubborn, and even if it's painful of, like, you know, Perez overtaking us, let's say, I'm going to remain on neutral, and I'm going to look to try and stick with everyone in terms of the tyre wear levels as we go on through this stint. The fact that Gasly has lost DRS from Bottas, that's going to be the issue, because Perez is going to fly by here and overtake him. Meanwhile, Bottas is watching the two Ferraris maybe swap and is sticking in DRS with these guys. So I just need Gasly, actually, to be fair, just to stick with Perez and get him pulled along. And maybe I hope Perez would close up to this pack, and then Gasly can be drawn in with him with the DRS. Meanwhile, our old teammate, Joe, he's actually best of the rest then, holding up our competitors of Russell and Hamilton in a train with the McLaren. Bottas just set a fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Perez and Gasly swapping positions apparently, but we're running on board with Bottas because things are getting spicy here. Bottas setting purple, so it means he's got some good lap time in there, despite being right behind all these guys. Verstappen defending against the two Ferraris vigorously. Leclerc still in P3. Surprised Ferrari haven't swapped that, but Valtteri's doing a very good job. With the old chassis, I might add, to be here keeping up with them. And Gasly with the newer chassis, the better chassis, is just about getting Perez to get back into P5. But let's look at that overtake then. Yeah, just with DRS. And to be honest, what I'm seeing, I'm kind of getting worried that basically these two are swapping so much that I'm actually going to fall back into Joe. And, well, actually that train headed by Norris right now, then Joe and the two Mercs, rather than closing in on Bottas. So I'm going to go pushing and... Ooh, yeah, I'm going to go aggressive for a bit. Let's try and close the gap up to Bottas. As Sainz now, doesn't make a pass on Verstappen. He's getting close. He's getting close, but no cigar for the Spaniard. Verstappen, a little bit wide for a second there, I thought. And Perez is back through. It's just not working, is it? It's just not working. I'm going to harvest for a while now with Gasly, actually. Let's harvest up ERS and then try and get away with the deployment. Couple of laps or something like that. Oh, Bottas is span. What? Oh, no. Vettel span, but then Bottas span at the same time. And all of a sudden, Bottas is facing backwards at P, and he's down to P12. What happened? He was nowhere near anyone. He was just trying to keep up with the Ferraris and just spins it. Spins it at turn 1. And... you know what? Bottas, at the start of the season, for the first half, when he was teammates with Joe, he really was the man at this team. I don't know what, I don't know if Gasly coming in and winning more races has upset him or what, or the change of engineer, maybe. But he's not been the same driver. He's made too many mistakes. And, that's just deflating. Down to P12. Where does he go from here? I guess we can, I think I want to convert him to a one-stop. I want to honestly convert him to a one-stop because that's the only way he's going to get back in this race. Meanwhile, with Gasly's P5, he's been dropped by Perez now, so getting DRS off him is not really much of an option. We'll go with deploy now for a couple of laps and attack. Let's see if we can close up a bit. But I'm not very hopeful now. I feel like we've lost the top 4. Meanwhile, Sainz has just got Verstappen. And Leclerc doesn't decide to send one down the inside. But Sainz in the lead. That's good for Ferrari. And now they can use both cars to try and attack Verstappen. But Verstappen himself will come back with DRS. Will Verstappen overtake Sainz to get back into P1? Yellow flags in Sector 1. There's someone else's spun, according to Bottas's radio. Verstappen remains in P2, and it's our old teammate. It's not a great day for Alfa Romeo or ex-Alfa Romeo drivers, as both Joe and Bottas spin in the same fashion at the same corner. Wow, oh wow. Well, Gasly, no man's land. Are we closing up at all to Perez? Let's see. Oh, no. Oh, no. Gasly locked up. Gasly locked up. And now, what is going on with our drivers? We are imploding this season at the end here. What's going on? Get going, man. Get going. What are you doing? Why are you just parked up? His brakes are gone, allegedly. Just locked up and went straight on. And then why is he just sat there like a lemming? Come on, mate. Move. We're down to... Oh, my God. Is he out? Is he out? We may as well be out now. We may as well be out. We may as well be out. Oh, my God. What is happening? Is this a glitch? This must be a glitch.
Let's see
goodness me.
Romeo
Oh, that's so frustrating. He's back. Yeah, we may as well retire the car. Is there even a thing? Can we call him in to retire? Because we may as well do it. It's there. The option's there. I just don't... What is he going to do now? What is he actually going to do, Gasly? What is he going to do from here? Right, I'm going to keep him out just for the sake of let's see what we can do from the back. I would have said he would have recovered, but... You know, because before it has happened, you know, remember Bottas crashed so early with Perez at the Australian Grand Prix. But the game we played at the Australian Grand Prix at the start of the game is a very different game to now. I don't think we're going to make a comeback because of the tyre difference. Because back then, it was just flat out racing. Whereas now there's tyre management, like proper tyre management. And we're not going to get anywhere from P20. So... well, focusing back on Bottas then in P10. Let's see if this one stop will work out for him to at least gain a couple of points to limit the damage versus Mercedes. And I guess we'll look at the sharp end then without having to worry about our cars because Leclerc and Sainz now lead a 1-2. Ideal for Ferrari. But Leclerc is now being attacked and overtaken by Sainz. So Sainz does not want to yield. And that will allow Verstappen to come back through. The two Ferraris squabbling. That's going to be exciting. But wow, well, apologies, guys, that for the second race in a row, there's not going to be much actual tangible management action from me because Gasly's lockup, I mean, I'll keep going. We'll just keep an eye on him, but I don't know how you know, he'll make a couple of overtakes maybe with the Aston and the Williams cars, but then from then on, I don't know. Bottas, there's maybe a chance we do something. I'm curious about this one stop. Let's see how it goes. So Bottas just been overtaken by Perez. He's yet to come in. Perez has pits. I don't know where Verstappen, Leclerc, and them going to fit into this as they're in the pits now. Let's see. Where is Bottas? Well, he's miles back, so he's not even in that race. But he is in the race versus Mercedes, maybe, because he'll stick behind Perez. And Merc are, well, right now, let's just wait for this camera to change. Merc are there, fighting the McLaren. So the one stop might actually get Bottas back in the mixer with the Mercedes guys as Hamilton just makes a lovely pass on Norris. Norris coming back at him, though. Maybe. Will the McLaren make a move round the outside? I haven't seen too much of McLaren this entire season with their poor performance in the game at the very start of the season compared to every other team. And he's actually got back ahead of the Merc. So he is going to help us. Lando will help us in this race by annoying the two Mercedes cars. Meanwhile, where is Gasly in all of this? He is in P16. He's got ahead of Stroll and Vettel. Going well on the hard compound, to be fair, so let's just see what he can do. I'll just let him do his own thing, really. Leave him to his own devices. Whereas with Bottas, we keep plowing on. Right, sit rep. Lando, as you can see, is overtaking us. We have now been joined by this party. They've finally closed up. Tsunoda's had a spin somewhere. Let's look at that, but we've just been overtaken by the pack we were trying to get ahead of. But remember, they have one more stop. We have one more stop, actually. So really, in theory, we should try and stay ahead of them if we can. But it's going to be tough going because I need to take these tyres even longer. And Hamilton waltzes by because our tyres are 39%. They've got 85% medium. So not great, not great. And we've got minor gearbox wear. At the moment, the race leads. Sainz leads Verstappen ahead of Leclerc. So Verstappen's got back ahead of Leclerc. So it's advantage Verstappen for the championship. Right, I'm going to pit Bottas this lap. He is coming in because the tyres are at 31%, which is pretty much the drop-off area. Gasly will go conserve. And Bottas gets past his old teammate, Joe Guanyu. Nice move down the inside, to be fair. Just up the hill into Sector 2. And the two are going to be quite close together. So, yeah, after the patch, we're kind of returning back to where we were with Joe in the Alfa Romeo, I guess. Like, you know, teetering, trying to get into the top 10, basically, in this race. This race could have gone so differently if it weren't for those two moments, that spin and the lockup. So I feel like I've done a better job managing the tyres. But it's just because we've been pushed down by about 5, well, in the case of Bottas, about 6 positions. Gasly, it was like a whole, like 13 positions we got pushed down. Okay, Bottas. Oh, Verstappen span it! Bottas ahead of the two Mercs now because they've pit. But Verstappen feeling the pressure or chasing after the race lead of one of the Ferraris. I believe it is Leclerc. Yeah, that's big. That's big for the championship. That is a big sigh of relief then for Leclerc because he's P1 now. Sainz P2. Verstappen's down behind Perez now. Shocking stuff. Verstappen in a race where if he won the race and Leclerc came second, I feel like they would have been level on points in the championship, I think, or just very close. And he's felt the pressure and span it, and he's down to P4. Meanwhile, with Bottas, we're ahead of Hamilton. Russell's yet to pit. And now it's a case of, can we somehow keep this 9-second gap between Hamilton and Bottas to the end of the race? Lap 63. 1.4 ahead. These guys fighting is helping me. I need the McLaren to just keep on fighting the two Mercs, and we'll stay ahead of them and crucially out of the DRS range. But we've been on aggressive this whole time to stay ahead, and now we're at 33%. So we've got to go conserve and try and protect the tyres a bit more. So this is going to be a bit painful maybe at the end as we try and see this through. They're going to be within DRS range now. That is a fact. And it's going to happen almost immediately. Oh, no. Come on. Harvest into turn 1. Can we stay ahead of the McLaren? No. Lando down the inside, and we just can't do anything to get him. Yellow flags in Sector 1, please. Please. Oh, someone's crashed. Someone's crashed. Who's it going to be? Who has crashed? I don't know. We don't have a replay yet, but the McLaren is ahead of us. Bottas comes back at him, though. Bottas comes back. It's Tsunoda who has crashed. Let's check that out because the McLaren does re-overtake us and get ahead. Is this going to be just a straight-on moment for Tsunoda, just like it was with Bottas? Yes, it is. It is going to be a carbon copy of that. So this is how fast the leaders are. I think that's a Ferrari lapping us. Yep, Leclerc is lapping us. That's how quick they've been. Leclerc is lapping us now. Oh, and Bottas has let Bottas let Hamilton by whilst being lapped. And now he's overtaken. He's been overtaken by Russell, and the tyres are going off the cliff because it's 30% tyre wear, and that is the cliff of these tyres, and it's going to be very painful now because Ocon's 2.9, and that may be the end of our points run. Getting to the end. Hamilton span, though. Hamilton span at turn 8 as he was right behind a Ferrari who's lapped him, by the way, and he just spins it sideways, and that's going to hold up maybe a car. The Alpine and Russell go by, but I think Lando got held up because now he's behind us. It's all kicked off right at the end here. Bit confusing, to be honest, because Ocon re-overtakes us now for the 3rd time here. Norris behind us again. Joe as well closing up, but P8 at the moment. Hamilton down in P12, so we will beat at least one Mercedes car in this race then after all, as we stick with conserve, but the DRS is helping us stick in this fight. I'm going to go Harvest now with Bottas. Let's just stick with him with DRS, please, if we can. Harvest, is that going to help us just pull along? Oh no, the McLaren down the inside. No, we keep it good. We keep it calm. We keep it calm. Okay, now the McLaren's going to get us because Ocon has walked away from us. This is it, though. This is it. This is the last lap of the Grand Prix. We may as well push everything we've got. Leclerc is going to win this race. Verstappen in 3rd. So that's going to be a really nice cushion for him in the championship for Ferrari. Lando is past us, though. And unfortunately, the tyres are going still complete off the cliff. And right at the end here, to the line, Is Joe going to overtake us? The man who used to drive for us is going to embarrass us on the line. He's going to get us. We have no ERS. Joe, who narrowly will not overtake us. But ironically, the two former teammates finish alongside each other. P9 and 10. Oh, that was a tough old race. That was, we got 2 points. That's all we had to show for it. Russell gets P5. To be fair, like I said, we've got the points in the bag in the championship. So that was just more about, well, trying to learn about... We did well. I feel like we did well to an extent with Bottas, with the tyre saving. I think had he not had the spin, that could have easily have helped us be about P6 at this point. Maybe Russell would have got us, or Hamilton would have got us anyway in the end. But I feel like we would have been about P6 without that spin for Valtteri. So we actually did not too bad with his tyre strategy. But Gasly had no chance just because he just sat there on the side of the circuit for so long. But for Leclerc, that's a big win for him. That will make him comfortable going into the final round at Abu Dhabi versus this man, Max Verstappen. So in the Drivers' Championship, it's looking a lot less likely that Verstappen is going to be able to mount any sort of challenge against Leclerc. There are 18 points now between Leclerc and Verstappen, so Verstappen kind of needs Leclerc to have an absolute howler and a 0 points finish at Abu Dhabi to win the championship. So I think at this stage you could say Leclerc has one hand on the Drivers' Championship. I think Ferrari may have already mathematically won the Constructors, you know. Drivers' Championship-wise, Bottas, for the first time in a long while, drops down to P5 because Perez outscores him. Top 5 for Bottas in the Alfa Romeo, though. Still pretty solid. And for Gasly to be sitting P7, and he'll definitely get P7 because Russell's nowhere near him. It's still very, very good. But that means we're one race now to the end of the season, and one race then to the brand new season, which I'm very excited about because hopefully we'll jump up in performance with all this researching we've been doing on the car. But guys, if you have enjoyed this one, hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're new around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.